Hello, insiders. Welcome to a new episode of the EU Bubble Insider. Today, I have the pleasure to speak with Margherita Movarelli, Head of Communications and Marketing of the Wilfried Martens Centre for European Studies. Hello, Margherita. It's a pleasure to have you here with us.
Hello, Chris. Thank you for having me.
Margherita, you're leading the communications of one of the most prominent political think tanks. And it would be interesting to start with learning what led you to this role. I know your background is both communications, research, and also journalism. Could you tell us a bit about some turning points that made you who you are today?
Well, if I had to think about two turning points, for instance, in my professional career, I would say definitely a first turning point was the decision to focus my professional career on political communication, which I have done in different capacities during my career path. And if I had to mention another turning point, it was the decision to move abroad and come to Brussels to take a more international career path in a way. You know, as it usually happens, career developments are made up of several factors. So you basically try to focus your professional career on something that you like, something you're passionate about. You try to improve your skills. You try to grow constantly as a professional. And then it's also about opportunities. You just have to make sure that when the opportunity comes, you're well equipped and you can provide the added value needed for a position that you may like to apply for. I don't know if I answered your question.
I think you said a very important thing about liking what you do, choosing the thing that you like. And right away, I want to ask, what is it that you like so much about your current work at the Martens Centre?
Well, first of all, I'm passionate about politics and about communication. So the perfect match for me was to work in a field that allows me to combine both aspects. So in a way, political communication. And that's what I am doing on a daily basis with our communications team at the Martens Centre. So I would say it's a perfect match because it's a combination of two fields that I really like and on which I really enjoy performing as a professional.
Could you run us through a typical day of your work? Does your responsibilities entail, and how does your work actually look in practice?
Yes, so at the Martens Centre, I am responsible for coordinating and implementing the communication and marketing strategy, meaning that in the Martens Centre comms team, we are the ones in charge of getting the message across, making sure that all our activities, events, and research are known in Brussels and also in different European member states. To do that, we cover several fronts, as you can imagine, media relations, outreach with different stakeholders, including stakeholders from the private sector, social media. We have a website. We have to take care of the marketing of our events and publications. And obviously, we run also communication campaigns to raise awareness and engage our audience. So on a daily basis, we try to cover all the different fronts that I mentioned. For that, as you can imagine, we can count on a communications team made of great and talented professionals. So definitely I'm not alone. My role is more to motivate and support this team of great professionals. So again, on a daily basis, we try to coordinate and to take care a bit of each and every aspect I mentioned, because everything is important, everything it matters for the end goal, which is getting the message across.
So this brings us actually to my next question, because it's not a secret that the Martens Centre is a content powerhouse, and to anyone working in a similar field, the number of publications that you guys put out every month, every week, will be impressive. And for that, you need, as you said, you need a team that has to have specific skills. And also a disclaimer here, from working with the Martens Centre, I know that your team has evolved. You've been adding skills to the team over the years. And could you tell us how the team of the Martens Centre is structured right now? What skills are important to have to be so efficient in publishing content, in communications these days, both in terms of content, events, and everything else you do?
Well, we are a relatively small organization compared to other think tanks, but we have a big network. So in a way, this is already helping us a lot because we can count on the human resources that we have in-house, but also on a wide network of members, experts, researchers, on which obviously we can count. In-house, as I said, we have different teams. We have a research team, a communications team, an external cooperation and events team, an administrative team. So in a way, we try to cover all the different sides of activities, of publications, of communications that are needed in a think tank. So in a way, we try to work also with our members, as I said, because what we can produce in-house is a part of what it is demanded by our audience and by our political stakeholders in a way. But then whenever we need also to strategize and to work with the network, as I said, we have a pool of members and experts we can always rely on. So this is a bit the way we work. We serve also as an umbrella organization, and that's a very important aspect of our activity.
And this is where it actually gets interesting because, like you said, the Martens Centre is an umbrella organization for a network of national political think tanks, which gives you quite big opportunities in terms of how much content you can get, how much activities you can do. And it works, I guess, both ways, both in helping you to get content to communicate relevant issues to the EU bubble, but also to communicate from Brussels to local national audiences. And maybe you could tell us a bit more about the practical sides of working with such a big network of local think tanks in each European member states.
Yeah, I would say that there is a constant exchange of ideas, initiatives, priorities, because obviously it is very important for us in Brussels to know what is relevant at the EU member states level, and vice versa. It is very important for our members in different member states to rely on us when it comes to the Brussels feeling, in a way, the bubbles feeling. So there is a constant interaction and a constant exchange of ideas. For that, we have several opportunities. We have internal meetings, which are in a way an opportunity to gather and to be together and to strategize on our common priorities. And besides that, besides the planning phase, we have also more than 100 projects a year that we organize together with our members. And it's a cooperation, meaning that we cooperate on each and every aspect of the project, from inception to realization. And this is true for events, for conferences, but also for publications, for research projects. Our research team, as I mentioned, is in constant communication with our pool of experts at the national level. And we also have research associates, different experts that can help us deliver quality research. So I would say the interaction with the national level is constant. We also try to be visible at the national level. It's part of our media strategy. So we don't just cooperate or write for media outlets that are based in Brussels, but we also try to step outside of the European bubble and be present at the national level as well. This is a very important part of our activity because, as I said, we serve as an umbrella organization. We are not just based in Brussels, but through our members and through our network, it matters a lot to us to be present also in the different EU member states.
So I would guess that with such vast resources, there is always the temptation to put out more content, to produce more, to be more active, because that's what apparently matters, especially in social media today. What is the Martens Centre way, or your way, Margherita, to find a balance between quality and quantity? So when do you know, how do you know when you have enough content and you should focus on fine-tuning rather than on adding more formats and publications?
Well, quantity matters, but quality is certainly the most important thing. It's the priority for us. So obviously, at the beginning of the year, we plan all our activities, including our research activities, and we try to make it sustainable in a way. Because as I said, we are a relatively small team. We can count on the cooperation of a wide network of experts and researchers. Nevertheless, we have to make sure that everything we do is sustainable for our organization in terms of workloads. But I would say so far so good. We manage. Whenever we cannot manage in-house, we try to rely on external expertise. So it's relatively easy, I would say, on a daily basis to strike a good balance. It's never been an issue.
Margaret, and how do you measure the KPIs? What are the KPIs of communicating as a political think tank? When do you know that you have done a good job in communications?
Well, that's a difficult question. First of all, it depends on the product. It depends on what you are communicating, and in a way, it's always very difficult to measure the impact of a communication campaigns or a video or anything you may put out on social media, on your website. So it varies depending on the product. Having said that, obviously we rely on the usual metrics: engagement, views, hours spent watching a video, for instance. And when it comes to campaigns, communication campaigns, I would say that we judge whether a campaign was successful or not on the basis of, if that campaign resonated in people's minds, if it made some noise in Brussels and or outside Brussels, and cut also through the noise of other communication campaigns. This is helping assessing the impact, but as I said, assessing the impact of any communication campaigns or in general any any research study is extremely difficult. That's the the million euro question for a think tank. How you assess your impact? So besides the metrics, we also try to invest a lot in personal relationship and human contact, because we know that this is also what makes a message successfully transmitted, and this is also a way for us to get human feedback on what we do. So we'll never give up on this human contact and on this aspect. We monitor the metrics regularly because that's very important. But in a way, data are only one side of the performance, can tell you only partially what the reality is. Then human feedback is also something that we try to keep to take always into consideration.
And I think, unlike when you do communications for consumer brands, and you can measure the results of your campaign in a big relevant scale, here, as you said, sometimes it's important to get to a very small specific group of people, and therefore this human relations and checking if the campaign actually resonated with, let's say, 50 or 100 people that actually matter as a target group, rather than a big audience, is more important than just the statistics that you could get from online views or downloads of a research paper, right?
Yeah, exactly. Statistics, data are very important, but it's only one side of the impact and of the success of a campaign. Then there are a million other aspects to be considered. Also, depending on the product, sometimes we are trying to focus on very specific topics. Perhaps the quantity is not really the metric that you would care about, but it's the impact on specific people and on a specific audience that you may want to target. So sometimes it's more the quality than the quantity that you care about. Sometimes when it comes to engagement for specific products or campaign, you may focus more on the quantity because you really want lots of people to feel engaged and part of the project. So as I said at the beginning, it also depends on the product, on the topic, on your goals.
But that being said, the Martens Centre has a quite impressive track record of producing multimedia formats, so podcasts or YouTube shows that get very impressive results in terms of how many people watch them, how the audiences react, and what impact they make. So would it be possible to get, I don't know, 3 or 5 key things from you that you think make a good political content? So what are the principles of making good YouTube shows, podcasts that people just want to watch or listen to?
Well, I would mention the 3 usual suspects according to global trends. Something timely, on a timely topic that it's interesting. Something short, especially when it's video content, and especially if you want to post it on social media, and something with a strong visual component, because according to the latest trends, the visual element is becoming more and more important. So, as I said, timely, short, with a strong visual component. Then there is no secret recipe for the success of a communication product. But if you start already with these 3 aspects, I think you have high chances to be successful. And then again, it depends what you want to achieve, because sometimes there are topics that don't really allow you to keep it short, and you may want to go for a longer product. You take a risk, but sometimes it's a calculated risk, and it works pretty well. So perhaps I would add also another important element when it comes to communication. It's flexibility. You have to be flexible and adapt to different topics, products, goals, and keep always this level of flexibility and also innovation in mind.
And I think this is, also what you guys at the Martens Centre have done. For example, with one of the flagship formats, 60 seconds, when the pandemic came, and it was difficult to record, to schedule. I mean, it was impossible to schedule studio recordings. The format was then evolved into something that actually became another successful format, the week in 7 questions. So the flexibility sometimes gives you also opportunities to change something that is already working to some extent to something sometimes even better.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be flexible, and I would also say resilient. I know it's a word that it's a bit abused, especially after COVID, but it describes in a way what is required, the level of flexibility that it is always required in every profession, but particularly in communication.
So this brings us to well, not the elephant, but the AI in the room. Something that everyone is talking right now. The new possibly revolution for people who work in communications. Do you see this as a revolution, maybe evolution? Does your team at the Martens Centre already use ChatGPT to draft social media posts? Could you tell us a bit about that?
Oh, yes, that's a very big topic. We have discussed it a couple of days ago during our network event. We had a panel focusing specifically on disinformation, on also artificial intelligence, and how new artificial intelligence tools are, in a way, impacting European societies and democracy, because obviously they can be connected also to the spread of disinformation, polarization. So this is a topic on our radar, definitely. It's a topic that it's discussed not only in Brussels, not only in Europe, but at a global level. And we at the Martens Centre are looking very closely and carefully at what is happening also in terms of artificial intelligence advancements.
So, in terms of the daily work, I mean, I heard many theories on how AI as a technology will change or revolutionize or maybe put common people out of work. Out of everything I heard, I don't believe we will be out of work anytime soon. But what I believe in is that our work will become well, a bit more stressful probably, because people will expect things to get done faster. So our bosses, our clients, our audiences will expect things to be published right away, because it will be presumed it's easier to produce something with the help of AI. And I wanted to ask you if you have a similar feeling, or if you see other challenges that may arise for communications with all the changes that are coming, because we will start using AI on a daily basis.
Of course, there will be challenges, but as people used to say, in every challenge there is an opportunity. So it's also up to us to understand what's happening, to keep ourselves updated constantly, to learn these new communication tools and artificial intelligence tools, and understand how to make the most out of them, how to turn them into something positive that can help us get the message across and that can help us achieve our goals. I think that's the crucial aspect, also because in a way you cannot oppose or deny technological change. This is happening now with artificial intelligence, but it happened before with the World Wide Web. In a way, you have to navigate these changes and to see what kind of opportunities can bring to you in your professional field. So this is the approach that we try to keep in our daily work at the Martens Centre as well.
And your daily work is also educating lawmakers on all the trends and new technologies arising in different aspects. And I think it's great that one of the panels at Net at Work event was devoted to disinformation, because this is one of the biggest threats. Right now, for example, we see with the cancellation, a simple thing, cancellation of the Twitter verification, that politicians, international institutions, governmental institutions can be much more easily impersonated, especially because you just had this panel. I wanted to ask if you feel that the lawmakers in Brussels are already aware of the problem, or this is something that is there already enough discussion, do you think, about the dangers of disinformation and AI that are coming?
Well, I cannot tell about each and every lawmaker. For sure, there are some that are more active on the topic and that have more knowledge. But when it comes to the topic, I see that it's very much under the spotlight. That there are discussions pretty much every day on the role of artificial intelligence. So I think it's something we are discussing. There is also a discussion on how to regulate artificial intelligence, digital platforms. So I think in a way, the European Union is already trying to be on top of this phenomenon. Of course, you have to keep up with something like technological change that is evolving very fast. And we know that institutions and politics tend to have a slower pace, which is also normal in democratic societies. But yeah, I think that it's a topic that it's already among the top priorities that are discussed now and that will be discussed also in the months to come.
And it will be for sure interesting to follow how Europe reacts, how lawmakers react to defending our rights to freely use tools and communicate, but also give us some protection against anything bad that is connected with it. So, Marga, I want to thank you for having the time for this interview today, for sharing your valuable insights and knowledge. I really appreciate you being with us here today.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure. Thank you.
So have a nice day, everyone who was listening to the podcast or watched us on YouTube. A new episode will be out in the next 2 weeks, as usual. Thank you, and all the best.